welcome back. Today we are going to talk about writing equations, linear equations, of parallel and perpendicular lines. Let's start with what are parallel lines? So parallel lines, two lines. That's a little light. Let's try something. There we go. Two lines in the same plane that never intersect. They will have the exact same slope, not the same y-intercept, obviously, since they are never going to touch or cross. And all vertical lines are parallel. The key is to find the slope. If you can find the slope, then you can answer any other question. Determine which of these lines are parallel. Well, in order to do that, we have to find their slope. We can do slope formula, or we can do rise over run. For line A, if I did slope formula, I have 2 minus 3 over 1 minus negative 4. Add the opposite. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Line B, let's say that I used our graph. We went down 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 over 4. Line C, we have down 1, so that's negative 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right 5. Exact same slope defines parallel lines, so lines A and C are parallel because they have the same slope. Now, if they give us something different, they give us an equation, and they want us to find a new equation. So just a reminder then up here that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and point-slope form is y minus y1 m times x minus x1. So the very first thing we have to do is find the slope. That was our key. This is slope-intercept form. So this slope is 2. And then they give us this ordered pair of x1, y1. So we have y minus negative 4, 2 times x minus 5. Add the opposite there to clean that up. It didn't tell us what form that we had to write our line in. So if it didn't tell us and we wanted to stop here at point slope form, we could. We would write it as y plus 4 is equal to 2 times x minus 5. But if not, then we would continue further by distributing. We'd have y plus 4, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Finish getting y alone by subtracting the 4 from both sides. These add to 0. We have y is equal to 2x. Negative 10 minus 4 more is negative 14. So that equation, that linear equation, would be y equals 2x minus 14. So again, start with finding the slope of the line they give you. Here they say slope is 3. They have x1, y1. So y minus 1 is equal to 3 times x minus 3. And again, if there's no specific format they want us to put it in, then here you are. Here's point slope form, and that would be fine. If they wanted us to continue further, then we're distributing the 3. Y minus 1 is equal to 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Finish getting y alone by adding 1 to both sides. Those add to 0, so we have y is equal to 3x minus 8. You try 3 or 4 and 5, please, on the back side at the top. Moving on to perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines, 2 lines in the same plane that intersect to form right angles, 90-degree angles. They are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So shy of having a protractor or a compass to measure the angle being 90 degrees, you could verify that 2 lines are perpendicular by checking their slopes, making sure that the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So again, the key is to find the slope. Okay, the key is to find the slope. So what are opposite reciprocal slopes? Well, opposites in this case are positive and negative, and reciprocals are the inverse or flip of each other. So some examples. If my slope given is positive 4, then perpendicular slope. So perpendicular is an upside down capital T. That's the symbol for perpendicular lines. Not sure if you remember that from any of your geometry. So the opposite of a positive is a negative, and the reciprocal or flip of 4 is 1/4, because remember there's technically a 1 there, so if I flip it upside down, it's 1/4. If they give us a slope of negative 3/2, perpendicular slope, then the opposite of a negative is a positive, and if I flip that slope, then that's positive 2/3. All right, let's try a couple. Remember, the key is to find the slope. So line A is in slope-intercept form, which means the given slope is 4. So if our slope here is 4, perpendicular slope would be the opposite of positive 4 is negative, and the reciprocal or flip of 4 is a 4th. So we'd be looking for negative 1/4. Line B, well, they didn't give us slope-intercept form, so we have to get y alone to find slope-intercept form to find the slope. Remember, there were two steps that we said would always work to get y alone. You would add or subtract the x and then divide by the number touching y, or the coefficient. This is a positive x. The opposite is to subtract x from both sides. That adds to 0. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4. And so we have y is equal to 3/4. That's a -1 there, so -1/4 x. Our slope is whatever is touching x, and the slope that's touching x here is -1/4. For line C, again, same steps we did for line B. The opposite of subtracting 2x is to add 2x to both sides. And then divide everything by the -8 that's in front of the y. So we have y is equal to 16 divided by -8 is -2. 2 over -8, a positive over a negative is negative. And 2 over 8 reduces to 1/4 x. So lines A and B are perpendicular. Lines A and C are also perpendicular. Lines B and C, however, have the exact same slope. So lines B and C are parallel. I know I didn't ask you that, but just some extra practice there. So write an equation of the line that passes through -3, 1 and is perpendicular to y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So again, they're giving us slope, intercept form, so we know the slope is 1/2. The slope is 1/2, then perpendicular slope, the opposite of positive is negative, and the reciprocal or flip of 1/2 is 2. We have an ordered pair here, x1, y1, so we can plug that into point slope form. Y minus 1 is equal to -2 times x minus -3. Add the opposite there, and if they didn't give us a specific form, then point slope form, we just write y minus 1 is equal to -2 times x plus 3. Let's take this further, though, to slope-intercept form. Start with distributing the -2. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 3 is -6. Finish getting y alone. The opposite of subtracting 1 is adding 1. So I would add 1 to both sides. That adds to 0. Y is equal to -2x minus 5. That would be the equation of the line that is perpendicular to the line given. Write an equation of the line that passes through 4, -3 and is perpendicular to 4x minus 1. So here they give us that our slope is 4. That means our perpendicular slope, the opposite of positive 4 is negative. The reciprocal of 4 is 1/4. Starting with point slope form, we have y minus -3 is equal to -1/4 times x minus 4. Add the opposite there. If all they wanted us to do was leave this in point slope form, we'd have y plus 3 is equal to -1/4 times x minus 4. I'm going to go ahead and distribute. Y plus 3 is equal to -1/4 times x is -1/4 x. Negative times negative is positive. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 over 4 is 1. Finish getting y alone. The opposite of adding 3 is subtracting 3 from both sides. These 3's add to 0, so y is equal to -1/4 x minus 2. You go ahead and try problems 9 and 10. And we will go to our modeling. So we have a helicopter that we want to have land, and the shortest flight path for it to land on the shoreline is one that's perpendicular. So we want to make sure that it lands at it travels at a 90-degree angle from the shore. Well, write an equation that represents the shoreline. Okay. Well, we need to start there. I see an ordered pair here. That's 1, 3. And I see an ordered pair here at 4, 1. So let's start with finding that slope. 3 minus 1 over 1 minus 4. 3 minus 1 is 2. 1 plus negative 4 is negative 3. So I have a slope of negative 2/3. Our perpendicular slope then, the opposite of negative is positive, and the reciprocal or flip of 2/3 is 3/2. So we're using perpendicular slope, and we have the helicopter with an ordered pair of 14, 4. So for the helicopter, we have y minus 4 is equal to 3/2 times x minus 14. Again, it didn't say what kind of equation to write, except for we know it has to be linear. But usually they want us to have this in point or in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go ahead and take this further. We have y minus 4. 3/2 times x is 3/2 x. 3/2 times negative 14. Let's see, we have 3 times 14 is 42 over 2 times 1 is 2. That simplifies to 21. Finish getting y alone by adding 4 to both sides. These 4's add to 0, so we have y is equal to 3/2 x minus 17. So this equation would represent the path of the helicopter so that it would travel exactly perpendicular to the shoreline. Go ahead and give number 12 a try. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great evening.